Hey guys, welcome to my vlog. Today is a very special day. It is, hold on, let me move all this stuff for you. Okay, there you go. Today is a very special day. It is my mom's birthday. I feel ashamed of saying this, but I don't know how old she would have been. So she died in her 70s, so I don't know. She died in October 29, 2016, and I don't remember her age. With my epilepsy, it's hard to remember things. I have run into people from my high school and they're like, Monica, and I'm like, who are you? You know, and back then I had my sister, she's like, I'm sorry, she has epilepsy. She's lost a lot of her memory when she went through those seizures, because I would have like, when they first got diagnosed, I would have like 15 seizures a day, 24 hours, like, maybe not triple, double that. So, I figured I wouldn't look so dull and ugly for my mom, because I know that's what she wouldn't want me to do. So I'm just gonna bronze. I'm just gonna put blush on. I don't even think I'm gonna go for the highlighter. Again, I think that's like the only highlighter I have in here is the liquid one. And I really prefer powder light highlighters, and I think I should add one to my cart. Or switch that one out for the Amarizi, which is just the same size as this, but it's a gold, just like this, and I'm tired of wearing gold. I have so many different highlighters, but they come in palettes, so I can't fit it on here. So I'm not even gonna prime, because I'm not gonna go outside. I'm gonna keep my ass in here. I can't even open this. I'm like really shaking right now, because I'd rather bust out and screaming and crying. You wanna know what I did 3 years ago that was stupid and reckless, which I talked about in another vlog? I got so belligerent and drunk. I'm so ashamed of talking about it, because it's like, okay, you want to play Russian roulette with your life? Go ahead and do it, but don't put others in danger because of your stupidity and because of your emotions. But at a therapy appointment that day, I don't even remember my therapist appointment. That's how drunk I was. And my brother's usually was a EMT before he became a paramedic. He was stationed out here, but for some reason he was stationed. My therapist's office is right behind an EMT station, and she knew he was stationed there. So she really wanted to call him, and I'm like, no. You don't understand if you call my brother. Oh my god, why is this so dirty? I'm like, he will bitch slap me all the way home and cuss me out, and then he's gonna have to wait till his dad is out to come pick up my car, or I'll probably have a friend drive my car back, you know. And back then I had an Escalade, Cadillac Escalade 2008, so I was like, I didn't trust just anybody with my baby. So I was like, no, please don't, please don't. I remember that part. That part I do remember. So I'm like, no, I can drive. And she's like, you can barely walk. You fell when you came in. I'm like, I did? I don't remember. She's like, you were bleeding from your elbow. I had to freaking get a first aid kit. And I'm like, why do I have a band-aid? And she's like, you don't remember? I'm like, no, I know. So I'm looking at the mirror, the mirror thingy, because I'm trying to like look between these two to put on the bronzer. And I gotta hurry up because my domestic violence class starts. Not that I'm looking forward to it. So I was just so upset because it was my mom's birthday, and she's like, you drove here? Yeah, I drove there in my 2008 Cadillac. Like, bitch, what were you thinking? Fucking go kill yourself. Stand in front of a fucking train. Just don't hurt your car. That's what I came to terms the next day when I was throwing up and, you know, coming down, like, with fucking hangover and shit. And then my ex went and bought me a small 32-ounce Corona. He's like, you gotta drink this. And I'm like, oh my God, get that out of my face before I break it on your head. I'm like, you are trying to kill me. I'm like, I want nothing to do with brandy. And then when my brother-in-law came home, he's like, fuck, she killed my bottle. So he had to go back out and buy another bottle. So he was kind of upset too. And I didn't know I killed his bottle because I was just downing it. And so he had to go right back out when he came home from work to buy another bottle, because his thing is having a cocktail after work. To, you know, like for me, after like I do shit, for me it's 420 recreational activities, and for him it's his cocktail. So I finished his drink, so he had to go buy one. And it was like, damn. And after I came home, I was just like, oh my God. I was telling my ex. Sorry. Spam call. If it's important, they can leave a voicemail, like I said before. And so I was literally telling my ex, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die. And he's like, no, you're just starting to get a hangover. Because I did this like around 10. So he's like, I'm gonna die. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die. Take me to the hospital. He's like, no, you're just starting to get a hangover because you drank too early. So that's why he went and got me the Corona one that day. And I'm like, I'm going to throw it up. He's like, go outside, drink it, and throw everything up. That's what you need to do. So I went outside. He put a chair in the grass, cracked it open, put some lemon and salt. More salt than I've ever seen. And yeah, I drank it. I was throwing up every sip. But I guess my stomach felt so much better once I got all that brandy out. So I was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, I was just so belligerent drunk. He had to help me in now, of course. I didn't mention that part. And I'm talking about like if I was like, hey, no. I was like belligerent drunk. Like, he would have to help me to go to the bathroom because I tried to go on my own and I peed, but when I got up I fell and my sister just heard the thump and she knew already, so she was laughing. Bitch. So she was laughing and she was just like, oh my God, I hope you suffer. I hope you suffer so much, never do this again. And I'm like, I hate you, I'm dying. She's like, you're not dying, but I hope you feel like you're dying so you don't ever do this again. You could have been killed. You could have killed innocent people. I'm like, I'm gonna tell your brother Chris. I'm like, no. She's like, I'm gonna tell him. You deserve a slap. Because nobody has the balls to slap me besides him. Because he knows we used to fist fight when we were growing up. So once he put me on my ass, that's when I was like, all right, you deserve my respect. You surpassed me. So I'm like, I respect you now. I'm like, I respect you now. I was doing it on purpose to teach him how to fight because you know, he didn't have no brothers. I was his big sister he looked up to. And whenever here's the catch. I couldn't go out on a date unless I brought little fucking furball with me. And I used to call him furball with me because he was a little chunky rolling ball thing. So that was the catch. And then when I started bringing him on dates, we were smoking weed and he tried it for the first time. He was like, when are you going to go on a date again? When are you going to go on a date again? And I'm like, I'm going to sneak out on a date. He's like, I'm sneaking out with you. No, I'm telling. I'm like, no, you're not. So I snuck out once. He was in the front already waiting for me. And I'm like, why can't I go on a date without you? I'm trying to get laid. He's like, that's cool. Just give me some weed. I'll go somewhere else and y'all do your thing. And that's what we used to do. And then once, I guess I did too much little, and in the bus, I was like almost falling, so he kind of bear hugged me and grabbed the, bus with one hand, and he's like, you're so stupid. He's like, don't do that shit no more. If you're gonna get high, I don't know, because he didn't know about drugs back then, neither did I. We were so naive. We were like, he was like 14, and I was like 18, 17. So I was like, okay, that ain't gonna happen no more. So we got, that's what I was dating, but I don't want to talk about that part. But yeah, we were so close growing up. We still are, but since he's been a paramedic and a nurse, if he's not being a paramedic, he's a nurse. He only gets one day off. He's on the same shift as firefighters are. So that's crazy that the ambulance paramedics are on the same shift as firefighters are. So he gets one day off a week, I believe, sometimes 2 weeks. Because he only works 24-hour shifts. Sometimes he works 73-hour shifts. So when we go to family events, he tries to coordinate it with his jobs, and we try to coordinate it with him. So we basically ask him, when can we go and do this? And then he'll coordinate it with his jobs, and he's like, okay, let's do it on this Sunday. And we'll go, but you can see on his face, he's like so fucking tired when he uses that day to sleep all day and rest. But he's sacrificing that day to go with us. So he's like, and the reason I'm talking about my brother is because he was my mom's baby. So he was my mom's baby. Might as well, so I'm not going to put blush. I mean highlighter. So he was my mom's baby. He wouldn't call her grandma. He'd call her mom. Just like my sister. Sometimes I call her mom. And yeah, he was our baby, and we didn't, like, he was my mom's baby and he was my baby. So whenever he would be fighting in the hood, I would get a phone call from a homie. He's like, bro, your brother's fighting. So I would jump in my Escalade, and that's what I loved about it. It fucking had torque and it had power, but that was a V8, so there goes my gas. So I would go to the fucking hood and look for where he was fighting, and I fucking put my car, put the emergency lights, and no one's gonna say shit, including the cops, because it's a fucking Escalade. I got juice like that. When it comes to an Escalade, like, I had a lot of juice with the fucking police. Like, they wouldn't fuck with me because it's a fucking Escalade. They run my plates, everything's legit. I had the fucking full coverage insurance, like, you know, they weren't gonna fuck with me. I had fucking, like, it's an Escalade, and I bought it with pure cash. I used my mom's inheritance, and I bought it with cash. So I'm like, I can go through that neighborhood, and they have respect for me. The Bloods would have respect for me. They all knew me because of my brother and shit, and my brothers and nephews. So I would drive by and they'd be like, what's up? You know, and I didn't have to be worried about that neighborhood because they all had respect for me because of these idiots. So once I get to the place where my brother was fighting, I would jump out And sometimes it'd be 2 against 1. I was like, oh, no, 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 nay, 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 nay. So I would jump in and fight the other guy that was trying to fight my brother. And, you know, growing up with all my brothers, and my sister was a tomboy, she would fucking get down when she was fucking in her 20s with guys too. So it runs in the fucking family, you know. It's not something I'm proud of, but at least I know how to defend myself. Because I had to defend myself out here with 2 guys and having guns, and they were from gangs. I didn't know. It's a mistake my friend did, that they wanted to take up with him, but he was already gone, so they took it up with me because I live here. Kind of figure that. So I don't talk to that person no more. His ass is gonna get me killed. Oh my god, my neighbors upstairs got a new entertainment center and they're moving shit around. It gets annoying. At the same time, I'm jealous. They got a new entertainment center. That's exciting for them. I love them and I love their kids. Their kids are so well behaved and so sweet. What time is it? Oh, 9:48. We're doing good. These are going to be the ones in my makeup kit. All 3 of them. Well, the clear one might be in my pocket all the time. But the other 2 going to be in here. Some of the liquids, some of the cream ones are going to be. But I'm attached to all of them. But I can't carry all of them here. So they're going to be switched out. I'll do a vlog. So, but back, talking to my mom, about my mom. She was a wonderful lady. She was very independent. We had a 4-bedroom house just for me and her. We all lived there, all my brothers and everything, but once they got married and everything, they started moving out, getting their own place, living, you know, and I loved it when I was a little girl because I would run over and knock on my brother's door. He would open and I'd jump in there with his wife and she would snuggle me. And I remember, like, okay, I remember when, you know, I could just run to any room and it would be any different brother. But of course, once they all moved out, my sister moved out, she moved to La Puente. So it was just me and my mom. And I also loved that a lot. And finally, she had a heart transplant, so she couldn't be as dependent as she was. So she changed. She became very angry because she couldn't be as dependent. She still was, but she couldn't really, like, she still can feed the chickens. She still can feed the roosters. We still had rooster fights in our backyard because it's part of our culture. And, you know, she still can sit down and watch it. My brothers and I would, you know, put the roosters to fight just for her because it's what she liked. And I told my mom, when we get caught, we're going to jail. And you're going to be the one sitting there looking pretty while we're in jail. And she's like, why? It's just our roosters, it's family. I'm like, Mom, it's against the law. It's animal cruelty. She's like, no, it's not. It's our heritage. And I'm like, you're not going to understand because you're old school. So, and this is a look. Like, I ain't doing anything else. Like, no brows, nothing. This is what I'm doing. And that's it. Hope my mommy likes it. Hope you like it, Mom. So, she struggled at the end, and then she all of a sudden had cancer. And it's like, we went through a heart transplant. We lived in the suite for 6 months in the hospital. I would stay there all night. And that's when I was abusing coke the most, because I would stay there all night. I had to get up and help her use the potty that was there. I had to put her back in bed, wipe her, you know, and then put that in the bathroom, rinse it, and put it back in the room. And I would sleep in the floor, which wasn't comfortable, but the shit you would do for your mother. And my mom would cry. I'm like, why are you crying? She's like, because I didn't want you to wipe me. I'm like, dude, how long did you wipe my ass? I'm like, this is my gift to you in exchange for you wiping my ass. So stop it and stop crying. I'm like, did I cry when you wiped my ass? She's like, oh my God, you would have stopped screaming. I'm like, okay, well, it's probably because the wipes were a little bit too wet. I'm like, or too wet or too cold. So yeah, I'm screaming. I'm like, are the towelettes too cold or are they fine? She's like, no, they're fine. I'm like, okay, because I don't want you screaming on me either. She started laughing. She's like, I'm going to start crying and acting like a baby, so you know what you really put me through. I'm like, no! Like, no! So I'm like, Mom, it's time for you to go to bed before I tell him to come inject you with a sedative. And she's like, no, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm like, okay, go to bed. So I would go to bed, and then the taxi from school would come pick me up there, and I would do a few bumps, not lines, bumps, because I had to stay awake during the day because I wouldn't really sleep at night. So I had to stay awake at school so I can learn, and finally it got too much for me. I told my brother what I was doing, and he's like, holy crap, you're doing that just to stay awake? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you really learning anything? I'm like, I learn, but once I have my homework, it's like I'm staring at a page and I can't remember any of the information. He's like, that's because of the stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know. So if I tried it without it and I was falling asleep. So he's like, try a Monster, try an energy drink. I'm like, I ain't drinking bull sperm. I'm not down for that. I'm like, if I don't even let a nigga come in my mouth, what do you think I'm gonna try it, bull sperm? I'm like, I need to try something else. I'm like, some fucking like pre-workout drink that's gonna have me, you know? So, but we went through a hard time with my mom. She drank a whole cocktail of medication, one especially to suppress her immune system and white cells so it wouldn't attack the heart, because at one point her body was attacking the heart because it didn't recognize it as its own heart, and it thought it was a stranger invading the body. So we were able to catch it early before it really completely destroyed the heart. So where did she get the heart from? Clinton Basilio is the 17-year-old who had an accident when it was raining on a February. He was a surfer, and he was the one who donated his heart to my mom. I thank him very much, but I'm pretty much sure they're both in heaven now, getting to know each other. And it's funny because once she got the heart, she started developing, he was Italian, she started developing food, like cravings for pasta. We would go to Olive Garden and she would get chicken Alfredo, and we would all be like, she doesn't like that stuff. Like, sorry, it cut. Like, she doesn't even like coming to Olive Gardens. She would usually just stay and eat the like leftovers. Like, so we contact the people, the family, and it's only through the agency. You can't contact them directly. Okay, I have like 4 minutes. And we contact the agency. I'm like, we have a few questions for the family. Like, what kind of food did their son like? Because my mom is all of a sudden craving things she never liked. She's going to restaurants she never liked. And we told them all the food she was craving, the restaurants and everything. And I'm like, she's craving Italian food. And she's a hardcore old school Mexican that likes to cook nothing but hardcore Mexican food. Like, this is out of her character. So they contacted the family, they told them everything, and they started crying. because that's all the food their son liked. So, excuse me. And then my mom started having dreams about surfing. And we had a picture of him sitting in his Jeep with surfboards on top. I don't know if she registered that or she even knew what they were. I don't think she really even knew what they were because she never got to see my surfboards or see me surfing. So I don't think she even knew what they were. So when she told me that dream, I was like, Mom, he's a surfer. I'm like, I went and got the board, and I'm like, you see what he's wearing? I'm like, that's a wetsuit. I have one too. So I went and grabbed out my wetsuit, and I'm like, this is what you wear when you surf, and then you have the shoes that go with it. I'm like, I went and grabbed the shoes. I'm like, but we can't see if he has his shoes on, and most likely he doesn't have them on if he's driving. So I'm like, this is a wetsuit, and what he has up there are surfboards. So I got a paper, and I drew a surfboard. And my mom was like, yeah, that's what I dreamed that I was doing. And I'm like, so I couldn't wait for my sister to get home from work. So I started recording all this. And I'm like, so I put my phone down where it was showing me and my mom. And I'm like, yeah, this is a surfboard. My mom's like, yeah, I was dreaming that I was on a wave surfing. And then I was like, yeah. And there was like all these people surfing at the beach. And I wasn't scared. And now I want to go try it. And I'm like, you're a senior. You're not going to try surfing. You don't even know how to swim. And she's like, but you know how to surf and you know how to swim. I'm like, I'm not going to be responsible for you wasting that hard. And you are not going to. I'm like, how about we arrange some swimming lessons? And then I'm like, but swimming in a pool is so different in the beach because the waves keep coming. The waves keep coming. And the surfboard is tied to your foot. So I'm like, if you really want to surf, we can get a trainer that can go out there with you in a longboard where both of you can be on it. And I would feel more comfortable because if you fell, I know he can jump in right after you and put you back on the surfboard and bring you out safely. Or have another lifeguard come with the boat, like a boat, forgot what they're called, speedboat, and come get you out. You know, and have the other lifeguard behind you. Because you don't understand that you went through so much that... Okay, guys. Let me go to class and I will finish the story. But this lady was so different compared to the lady she was before she got the heart. That she wasn't just not like an adrenaline junkie now anymore. She was like an angry person. Like, I can do it. I can do it. Like she was like devoted. She was like devoted. Like, I can do it. So, but the only thing I can say is after her heart transplant, she would show affection to my kids and everything, but she would never show affection to me. She would never touch my face. She would never say I love you or anything like that, and I really miss that. But growing up, she'd always hug me and kiss me and tell me how much she loved me. So I know she did. But after the heart transplant, all that stopped. I don't know why, but I know she loved me no matter what. I know she loved me. I just want to say happy birthday, Mom. I miss you. And I hope you're having fun with Patty in heaven. And I hope to join you guys when my time, or when it's my time. When God calls me, I hope to join you guys. I know I can't wait, but I could wait. So, my mom was one strict. That's why I never got in trouble in my teenage years, really. But then again, I was very slick.
Hey, bitch. Therapist out.
It's not therapist no more, it's school.
Hey, bitch. Therapist out.
Sorry, my computer's G like that. But I'm just gonna cut it off here because I don't want to get more emotional. I think we talked about my mom enough. She was a wonderful lady. Wonderful lady. She had her moments where you better run because there's fucking chanclas, aka sandals, flying from both sides non-stop. It's like, where the fuck is she getting all these motherfuckers from? And you're like dodging them, and it's like, oh shit, she got me, and you're still running out the house like, where the fuck are they coming from? And she's like, she fucking had a basket, and you're just like, yeah, that was her weapon of choice. With my brothers and sisters, the yellow cord, the metal spoon, a fucking switch from a bud bush. Yeah, she got me with one of those too until she saw the damage on my legs and butt. She's like freaking out like, oh my god, you're all bloody, like holy shit. I took it to bar and she started curing me and she was crying and she's like, I'm so sorry. And it's like, it's okay. You've done worse just to make her feel guilty. And she started really crying. And I'm like, no, mom, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Like, it doesn't hurt. And then I move, I'm like, ow. I'm like, but it's okay, it's okay. And I'm like, I'm just gonna stay in bed this way. It's okay. So, but yeah, she felt horrible. She really did feel horrible. So, but guys, I gotta get off before the 5-minute grace period ends and they lock me out. So, give it a thumbs up just for my mom. Come on, let's do it just for my mom. Show her love. Subscribe, share this vlog, show some love for my mommy, because she's up there watching over all of us, over her family, and she was always the one to pray for the world and everyone. So I know she's watching over everyone, not just me, over the world and everyone, because that's the person she was. She always prayed for the world to get better and for everyone, especially the people suffering in Afghanistan and Pakistan, Mexico. So let's give her some love. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share this vlog. This is Life as Monica Miller coming to you from my couch. And I love you guys. Bye. Time for school. Bye.